All right, this thing is on. This thing is on. This thing is on. How's it going out there, everybody? This is Sunny D. You're now rolling with the D. This is the coronavirus podcast of all podcasts. We're right in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic. We're in a self-isolation, quarantine, lockdown, borderline. It's going state by state, but soon it's looking like we've got 5 states already, maybe going to 50, and it's happening. We're in the middle of it. And so I wanted to do a podcast. I'm going to do more of these while we're practicing. I'm going to tell you about some of our practices, my practices, our company's practices right now. I'm going to talk about some of that, but also going to just kind of talk about like where we're at right now. And these are my opinions. Some are going to be based on information that I've gotten that everybody has access to. So it's not like I'm privy to information that you're not, but it's going to be information based on, reporting, based on what we're hearing as citizens of the United States, as citizens of the world, these different things that are coming out. That's where I'm getting a lot of this information from. So if you're in the United States, like me, most likely you're in a state of isolation, state of lockdown, state of stay at home, state of you're not at work, state of you're wondering and probably a little worried about like what's going to happen. And the coronavirus, if you don't know what it is or have not heard of it, or COVID-19, I don't know what planet you're on, because it literally is in now. I think the current number is 147 countries in the world. 147 countries have been hit with this epidemic, this virus that originated in a city in China, Wuhan, China. And so it's also been referred to as the Chinese virus. Some people get a little offended by that, but that's where it was originated. So it's now spread, and spread throughout Asia, Europe. It's here now in the United States. And this is day number 6 of the 15 days to slow the spread. These are an action plan, initiatives put out by our U.S. government, from the president, vice president, the coronavirus task force. That's been put out, came out Monday. And you guys know me, I'm a business owner, have multiple salons. And so Monday, as we're getting this information, I'm in Texas, right? I flew there week prior, was there all week doing a training for some brand new hires that we're getting ready to launch in our Texas location. So I'm out there doing this training, and all this is starting to bubble up. There's cases in the United States. There's case here, case there. So all this is starting to bubble up, and I'm out there doing this training. I'm not doing the training. When I'm not doing the training, keep an eye on what's going on. Got, salons back in Florida operating. Got, the salon there, these new hires. So I'm trying to stay focused. I'm trying to keep my head in the game and try and deliver the goods on this training. So we wrap up training on Monday, last Monday, which would be I believe it would be the 15th. We wrap up this training, and as we're wrapping up this training, this 15-day stop the spread mandate, action plan, guidelines is being released from our government. So this is being released. I'm wrapping up training, finish training that afternoon, have to then go to the airport, get on a plane, get back to Florida. So all this is going on. So this is all weighing on my mind. So this would be, Monday would be the 16th. Just looking at the calendar here. Just to give you a timeline, keep you up to speed with what's going on there. So Monday, Get to the airport. There's a delay on one of the flights. Get pushed back. Sitting at the airport for like 4 hours. End up on a nonstop flight. Get back to Tampa. Little at like probably almost midnight. And like there's tons of people that are at Tampa's airport, but my plane is like essentially empty. Like it's like a ghost town. Even in the Austin, airport, there's like nobody there. So we get back, and my plane pretty much empty. Get back to Tampa, tons of people there waiting on the bags. Get my bags, and then I've got maybe roughly 30-40 minutes. I had to make a couple of stops, but 30-40 minutes on my way back to my house. And like this whole thing's been weighing on me now for a solid week. And then I hear about these guidelines and kind of looked over that, got that information on that Monday. And so I'm sitting there and wondering like, what do we do, right? The beauty industry, the way it works for us, you're working, you're making money. You're not working, you're not making money. You're working, you're making money from your commission, you're making money from your tips, you're making money from product sales, and so on and so forth. Right? So now I'm at this kind of crossroads where I'm thinking, what's going to happen next? And I kind of, the vibe and the gist and the sense of urgency when, the officials are going over this information, they're going over these guidelines, there's like this sense of urgency, and I can really, understand that. And so I'm like looking for the writing on the wall. And what I'm seeing there's going to be some serious withdrawals from business, serious withdrawals from interacting, because it seems like, and this is what I was getting from the little reporting that was happening, that this is moving through people. It's moving from people, person to person, person to person, person to person, and it's spreading like wildfire. So I'm up most of that night and supposed to be back in the salon the next day. And I'm, on that, kind of fence of like, what do we do? And so that, night I was like, I was thinking we need to close the salons, because the last thing as a business owner, as a salon owner, as a community leader, as a leader, as a responsible, person, right, a human, the last thing I want to do is put people in harm's way when they don't need to be in harm's way. So I made a very tough decision. When I woke up, I was like, let me sleep on it. Let me wake up. Probably I'm fatigued from the training, from the week, from the travel. Let me wake up and let me see what I think the next morning. Well, I woke up the next morning. Nothing really had changed worldly, except there's more people getting affected. There's more people at risk. And like the numbers are moving, right? And as a numbers guy, like I'm studying these numbers. That's what I do with the business. I study the numbers. So I'm studying, studying these numbers, and I'm like, these numbers are going in the wrong direction. It's more serious than we thought initially, right? People, because the first reporting was kind of like, okay, it's a virus, seems pretty bad. Like I feel bad for older people because it seems to be attacking older people. They're reporting like younger people aren't really at risk. If you're healthy, you have no underlying respiratory illnesses or conditions, it's probably not going to affect you, which is partially still true to this day. Fast forward 6 days later, going on 7 days later, but the numbers are moving in the wrong direction. So I have to make this call, and I wake up and I'm convinced that we need to shut down. So I set up a conference call, sent out a text message to everybody in the company. Hey, we're going to have this conference call, at this time. If you can get on the call, some people are already booked, right? It's a full day, Tuesday, first day of the week for us, full day of business. So I get on conference call and deliver the news. We need to shut down. We need to shut down. At the end of this day, we need to shut down all operations. We need to reach out. Now we're talking, probably like 100, probably 1,000 potentially, guests now, because we're going to shut down. We're not just shutting down for that day. This is March 17th now. we're shutting down until March 31st. We're gonna get on board with these guidelines, and we're gonna shut down for 15 through the 15-day guideline criteria. 15 days, right? So now you're talking March 31st, which will be Tuesday, is when we plan to open up. And as I sit here and record this today, it's March 22nd. So it's been, 6 days now. That still is our plan. We do, like I say, plan to reopen our doors on the 31st, which is a Tuesday, which will be back at the beginning of, for us, we're open Tuesday through Saturday in most of our salons. We'll be back at the beginning of the week. Now then, things start to get interesting. So now we're at this like self-isolation, self-quarantine, just staying home, going out essentials, getting essential groceries, things that, definitely need, gotta have, whatever. And that's it. And I'm paying attention every single day. I'm watching this, develop. And sure enough, every single day, the numbers are just getting worse and getting worse and getting worse. I'm talking like astronomically, like they're starting to jump up, not like, a few thousand here, a few thousand there. And I'll give you one of the numbers as an example. So looking at, see, I've got a couple of slides here I can pull up. So 310, United States on March 10th, right? And this is 5 days before I, made the decision and then executed the call, right? So 5 days before, so in the United States, we're talking just the United States, there were confirmed 959 cases, 8 people recovered, and 28 reported deaths. And that was on March 10th. So now, death reported cases sounds bad, but how bad is it, right? The flu, everyone's comparing it to the flu. It's all you hear, comparing it to the flu. Finally, somebody said recently, stop comparing it to the damn flu. It's beyond the flu. But the flu kills a lot of people. So people are like, well, it's like, 1,000 people, close to 1,000 people. It's not that bad. Now, check this out. 10 days later, and remember, here we are, March 10th, 959 cases, 8 recovered, 28 deaths. 10 days later, 10 short little days later, jump forward, look at the data. You've got now 19,100 confirmed cases, and you've got 244 deaths. And that's just 10 days later. 10 days later. Now, when I decided to make the call, remember it was at 959? When really it was on the radar and was really starting to be talked about, and they were coming up with these criteria that they released on the 15th. So 959 on 310 and 320, 10 days later, it's at 19,000. When I decided to make the call, think about this. At 317 on that Tuesday, we shut down all of our operations. We were sitting at 6,421 confirmed with 108 deaths. So as you're hearing these numbers, you're talking tenfold in 10 days. When you start looking out at some of the other countries and you start looking out at some of the other countries that are either kind of flattening the curve is what they're calling it, flattening the curve, kind of getting it under control, or, for lack of better, term, they're just getting hammered, right? They're literally getting hammered. We're talking about places like Italy. Now, they say China and South Korea, it kind of peaked out and now it's kind of flattening out. That's what the data's coming back. So they're like, they gave us kind of a heads up. They're like, a couple days ago, it's going to get worse before it gets better, because there's the problem is testing, right? There's so many people that could have symptoms, may need to be tested. So they like scrambling, because all of a sudden it's just like a wave of people that are now sick. They're trying to figure out testing, trying to figure out how to get people tested, where to test people, what to do with people that are sick. So now it's like the testing becomes the big issue. So they did say, like, as more tests become available and we test more people, expect the numbers to go up. And they were not bullshitting on that one, because we're tenfold. I mean, from the 10th of 959 people to 10 days later, 19,000 people. Yeah, that's a big increase. So where are we at now? We're March 22nd. And as we sit here today, let me see if I have the latest. As we sit here today, the latest I have, I think I pulled from yesterday. Let me see. Well, I got some in my notes here. So it looks like the latest right now for the United States, we've crossed over 26,000 cases. Worldwide, we've crossed over 300,000 cases. And then when it comes to the U.S., there's a couple of states in particular that are really, struggling right now. So if you guys are listening to this, keep people in mind. If you know people from there, reach out to them. I'm from, one of these areas, which is the tri-state area. So New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. I'm from Connecticut. Grew up right outside of New York City. Love New York City. Have friends there. Like my favorite teams, baseball, football, basketball, all in New York City. And New York City right now for the United States is kind of like, it's not kind of, it is the epicenter. It's where there's been the most cases, there's been the most deaths, there's been the most aggressive actions by the government. The governors pretty much got New York, and they call it stay in place shelter. In some places they, call it, quarantine, lockdown. There's a lot of different terms. But basically, non-essential services, non-essential workers, everyone's been ordered to go home. First, it started on I think Wednesday was like a 25% reduction in the workforce. Thursday moved up to 50. I think it was, or maybe it was Thursday moved up to 75. And then Friday it was 100% workforce, non-essential, stay-at-home order is what they called it. Not a recommendation, an order. So the governor's has the city on lockdown. Now, here's the challenge with that, right? And this is where, if you guys are listening to this, hopefully, you're on my side of the line with this, not on the other side. People are like, I'm free to do what I want any old time, right? They got that attitude. And what happens is people are ignoring the order. People are going out to the beaches. It's spring break, of course, right? This hits right in the month of spring break, where colleges all over the country, they're letting out at different times. So people are going out to the beaches. They want to do spring break. And where are they coming? Where I live. They're coming to Florida, right? We got the beaches. We got the weather. They're coming down here in droves because they plan this ahead of time. And realistically, I mean, if you hear some of the people and what they're saying, just being super selfish about it, right? Because some of the people that were interviewed, they feel fine. They're like, I'm young, I feel great, I'm doing my thing, I'm gonna go to the beach, whatever, right? So then they're going out doing their thing, yeah, feeling fine, but spreading the virus rapid. Because now, think about this. Everyone comes to Florida, or everyone goes where the beaches are, or everyone, people going to Colorado skiing. It's another area. Colorado is getting decimated. Florida is getting up there in the list. Think about these spots. You go to California, that's another one that's way up there. And this started, though, think about in the United States, the first few cases that were popping up that previous week were the first few that hit were in an old people's home in Seattle. And I remember being at training a couple weeks back in California, and I'm like, ooh, what's going on right now? And that's when we first started hearing about it. It was a couple cases in Seattle, old people, and that's where the whole old people, this is going to attack old people, young people are fine. I was at that training with a bunch of young people, and everyone's like, oh, it's not going to bother me. Everyone's kind of blowing it off. And I mean, I wasn't freaking out. I'm not a freak out type of person, but I was listening to everything going on, and I'm like, well, do we really even know? We don't. That's the thing. We didn't know. You don't know what you don't know. And so as it started to spread, started to lean on us, turns out. And so if you think about the perfect storm for the spread of a virus is having lots of different people coming from lots of different areas, concentrating in areas and then leaving those areas and going back. That's a perfect way to spread anything. Spread germs, spread love, spread the coronavirus. And so that's really what's been going on. And now you've got spring breakers coming down to Florida and they're getting all pumped, loving life, having fun, wrestling on the beach, partying it up, grinding it out at the club, leaving, going back, spreading germs everywhere. And if it is older people that are more susceptible to the illnesses, where do you think those college students are going? They're not going to a dorm at their school because the schools are literally closed, right? They're going to go home, probably, right? Or, and when they go home, who do you think's going to be there? Maybe an older person. I don't know. Maybe your mom, maybe your dad. And so I started hearing all these things, and this is like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. At first, it's like closing the business. I'm like thinking, damn, like what are we going to do? How are we going to make sure everyone gets paid? We got no money coming in. So those things I'm thinking first. And I'm thinking like, but I have to do it, right? I can't have people getting sick. I can't have guests getting sick. I can't take the chance. There's a 0.001% chance one of my people or my guests are going to get sick. It's not worth it. So that's where the risk and the reward come into play. Is what I'm about to do to get what I'm about to get worth it? And whatever it is like it doesn't work out. It fails. And I'm a risk taker par excellence, okay? That's what I do as an entrepreneur. It's all about taking risk. It's all about, putting your neck out there with the potential of it getting chopped off. So there's no like risk adverse bones in my body. But when it comes to health, it comes to, the true wealth, which is your health, that's not worth it. If you told me I could have a really successful business, or you told me I could become deathly ill, which one would I choose? A successful business. But if you told me I could have a really successful business, but the catch is that business is what could cause me to become potentially deathly ill, then it's a different story. Which one would I choose? I wouldn't choose the business, right? I wouldn't choose the business. So those are the decisions that a lot of us, have had to make. If you're a small business owner, no matter how big or small your business is, even the big businesses, they're not wanting to close down, right? A business exists to create revenue, right? That pays people, provides a quality of life, a product, a service is sold, revenue comes in, keeps the economy going. It's the glue, right? It's the grease, if you will, of the economic engine, the machine. It's how the world is going to keep rolling and moving. And so basically what happens is now that whole machine, that whole global economy comes to a grinding halt. Comes to a halt, right? That means like all the gears, all the grease is gone, the gears halt, and what happens? We're over $20 trillion of lost business and money and market transaction in a week. We're talking in a week, because almost every state now has some kind of restriction on business. I saw it even that last day. I was in Austin. I went across the street to Starbucks. They had, the day before, it was business as usual. The rumbling started that Sunday night. Monday, they were getting ready to release the restriction guidelines. Monday morning, late morning, I go to Starbucks. All the tables are quarantined. Like there's no dining. You come in, mobile order pickup, you get out. That's how it was going down. That was like kind of the first indicator, like, whoa, okay. It's a pretty big business. For them to just have to shut down like that, where, mobile order, they're still getting revenue. And, so that's kind of where things are at. And most states have that. Most businesses have that. Every day we're seeing, more and more businesses are closed. The little bit I've gone out a couple times, had to get some things. The Walmart was open. Publix was open. You have to get some essentials. They're keeping those essentials open. But most cities at this point, it's like stay-at-home order. And the cities like New York that have gotten really hammered with this, they've had to put that order in place, like tell everybody, to the point where you're going to get arrested, you're going to get a ticket, you're going to get a fine if we see you not obeying the order if you're a business. And our industry, especially like the hair industry, I mean, there's been some resistance. People are like, and I made the video. If you go on my Instagram at SunnyD 1.0, you will see 2 videos back to back. First video is me talking about how awesome it is that we're trained in sanitation as hairstylists, barbers. We sanitize with a product that is known and effectively kills COVID-19. They put out a statement on their website on like March 11th about it. I put that in my video. I showed some sanitation, practicing around the salon. So that video, the very next video is, hey guys, salons were closed for the next 2 weeks. Like, that's how quick things are changing. So if you go and check out my Instagram, you'll see how quickly things are changing. And so that's kind of where we're at. That's the state of the union right now with this epidemic. It's known as the coronavirus epidemic. And I mean, the governors, the government, health officials, they're kind of in the boat of like 40 to 80% of the United States is going to get this virus. That's just the way it is. But what can we do to slow the spread? So that's where the urgency comes in to like stay home and do these best practices. And that's why they grinded. I mean, the economy's come to a grinding halt to where they're finishing up the details today. And really, as we speak, they're going to have a briefing here soon, but they're finishing up the details of a stimulus bill. And it started at like $1 trillion. Now I think it's up to like $2 trillion to literally pump cash into the economy, into people's accounts, to but to kind of force like the lubrication. It's like the gears are grinded and they're stuck and they're stopped. So to push this money in to get the gears going again so people can get paid, right? Because that's first thing and foremost. I'm told I can't work. I'm sitting at home. How am I going to get paid? Am I going to get paid? Is the business that I worked at, is the job going to be there whenever they lift this, order, whenever they lift this mandatory issue? And I mean, right now there's like 5, I think it's up to 5 states that have a complete stay-at-home order in place. California, New York, I think Illinois, and a couple of others. What are the other 2? But they literally, that's what they had to do because it was to the point where, I mean, it's spreading too quickly, too fast, and they can't withstand the sheer, because what happens, it's overwhelming. It's just like when the financial crisis hit in 2008. I was just starting out my business idea, getting ready to start. Didn't even know, I wasn't paying attention to economics, economies, business news, any news really. So I didn't know what was going on. But that, and I since went back and studied up on it because I'm like, these things happen in cycles and in waves. And everyone's wondering, like, what's the next crisis going to be? What's the next crisis going to be? Is it going to be, student loan bubble's going to pop? Is it going to be another housing crisis? Is it going to be like the last one was the housing crisis? Then before that was the dot-com boom. So you look at all these big crashes, 1929, right? The Great Depression happened. And so these things happen in cycles. So I went back and studied that, over like probably years ago. I started like really, just really learning and like paying attention to what was going on. But like, this is a virus. This is a health crisis. It's a pandemic. So what's happening is all of a sudden, like in those days in the Great Depression and even in the financial crisis in some cities and some countries, there was a run. They call it a run on the banks, where everybody went and were like, because they're freaking out. And they're like, we want our money out of this bank. So the bank is so overwhelmed. The bank is like, no more withdrawals. We've got to shut down the bank. They like close up the teller windows, close up the bank, and then it could be panic, and when that kind of stuff happens, it could be panic and people are freaking out. I mean, go back and study some of these crashes and some of the fall off, the outlash. some of the outer edges of what happened, the trickle down effect, whatever you want to call it. Go study some of this stuff, and what you'll find is people react in a lot of different ways. So the run on the bank right now, the run on the bank is the overwhelming amount of people that are getting pushed and flooded. I just said 26,000 people, right? 26,000 people are now, boom, showing up. Like New York alone, 60% of that's in New York. So you're talking 10, 11, 12, 13,000 people in a week in New York, positive testing coronavirus, needing hospitalization, needing these, ventilators, needing doctors. And the system is not built for that. So that's the big challenge. That's the run on the bank right now, is all of these states that have this overwhelming number of cases that are rushing into the hospitals, that are forcing the system to overload. And that's why the shutdown is occurring. And there's some people out there that are like, you know what? Let's just shut the whole country down. And that might not be a bad idea. Because it's like already 5 states. So it's California, Illinois, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. Those tri-states, they're kind of working together. So they've got the order in place, because what happens is, you're in New York, they say nothing can go on here. You could just pop over. Like we used to drive Connecticut, boom, stop selling alcohol. We're trying to have a party. 20 minutes, you can drive to New York and buy it. It's no big deal. So that's how it is up there. There's such a small area. You could bounce from state to state to state. If one state says you can't do something, go to another one. But if all 3 of them band together, so they're doing it smart up there. But some of these bigger states like Florida, and Florida's up there in the number of positive cases. I think we were like number 4 on the list the other day. So you've got these cases popping up in these, like California. You're looking at these overwhelming amount of people that are sick. Now they need to weigh in or lean into our healthcare system, and it's not built for that. So that's where the pressure's coming in. That's our run on the banks right now. And so if you know anybody, if you guys are listening to this podcast and you know somebody that's acting up, like, yeah, whatever, I feel fine. Because a lot of people that are not showing symptoms, that are younger, that are healthy, are actually carrying it and spreading it just as easy as everybody else. But if they're in high contact and frequent contact and not, just kind of like simmer down for a couple of weeks, so we can try to get this slow on this spread, flatten this curve, give our healthcare system time to catch up with the overwhelming amount of, pressure that's being put on it, then we could get back to work. So that's my thing, is like, I want to get back to work. I've got people that want to get back to work. None of us want to be quarantined and self-isolating and staying at home for, weeks. Yeah, a couple days long weekend. Yeah, that's a little vacay, but not for, 15 straight days, which is what we're doing right now. And it may be longer if we don't heed warning and we don't take the advice of what our, elected officials and health organizations are telling us to do. So yeah, if you know anybody, just reach out to them, give them a little nudge, give them a little, encouragement, like, hey, don't be a dumbass. Hashtag slow the spread. Hashtag coronavirus. Hashtag stronger together. Hashtag together apart. Because that's what we need to do. We need to band together while we're apart so we can get through this, and then we can move on and we can get back to business. So hopefully you guys will join in spreading that message. And hopefully I was able to bring you, some information here today, kind of synthesize some stuff. Again, my perspective, some of this information, yes, it's some facts based on numbers that are coming from the system, from our officials, from news reporting. But then, some of those other things, like making those choices. I know it's hard staying at home, if that's not what you do. I'm literally never in the same place for more than 2 days. So for me to be in the same place for now 6 days, it's like my mind is like, whoa, what am I doing here? So you'll probably see a lot of podcasts, over the next week. From this one, Rolling with the D podcast, I'm going to be in the YFYI podcast. Going to probably be reading some chapters. Going to probably be recording audiobooks. Going to probably be doing some haircutting videos. Going to probably be doing some live streams. I'm doing live streams every day with my team just to keep them motivated, keep them updated on what's going on, things that I'm hearing. But being in the same place, right, it's not easy. So lean on me, lean on each other. We're in this together. We can slow the spread. We can flatten the curve. We can, get back to business, get back to work if we just press pause for these next couple of weeks. That's the big thing. So hopefully you guys are down with that. You're feeling that. You want to do that. And you will do that. And we'll be able to talk face to face real soon. So that's all I got for today, guys. Thanks for watching. If you're watching, this is on video. This will be on YouTube. Thanks for listening. If you're listening on Anchor, Apple, Stitcher, Spotify, wherever it is you're listening to the podcast, I appreciate your time and attention. I look forward to being with you soon, but also look forward to watching this pandemic come to a halt, this curve get flattened, this spread get slowed, so we can all get back out there in the field. Share this with a friend, a family member, someone that you love. Comment, like, reach out to me, hit me up, message. Me on Instagram at SunnyD1.0. Hashtag Rolling with the D, which is RWTD. You can get all the episodes. You can find old episodes, listen to this episode. Just go to RWTD, as in Rolling with the D, podcast.com. That's RWTD, podcast.com. Look forward to hitting you on the next episode with some more info. So thanks for rolling with me, and I will talk to you guys soon. Sunny D is out.